Hey, what's up, everybody? BDF 44 coming at you another video. All right, so I figured I'd do a therapy session since everything that's going on in my world is a bit on the haywire side, as usual, it seems. I woke up at about 5:30 and did all the stuff, showered, all that, and said my prayers and do all my normal stuff. But still not really much of an appetite. I did enjoy a baked potato last night. Even though I don't order baked potatoes when I order groceries, dude accidentally brought them to my house. So it was a fortuitous mistake because them potatoes have really served me well, and I think I'm gonna be more likely to purchase more. So that's something I can eat and enjoy. But yeah, just trying to grasp what it is that's going on. I just, yesterday was very confident that I could go down there and handle it, and of course they were closed. And I'm just thinking to myself, wouldn't it have been great if that sheriff would have came on a Friday or a Monday? I think that would have been a little more humane, given the fact that an extension is what it needs to be applied. And the way this works is you have 4 days to apply for an extension, not 5. If you wait until the day before, they won't file it. So, like, if I go on the 30th, Tuesday, no go. I got to go tomorrow, and it has to be given to me tomorrow, or the likelihood that my stuff will be left in here is pretty much very, very high, because I ain't got the means of getting storage that soon. I don't believe. So that's like devastating for me to a degree, I guess. Even though I don't love everything in here, it's just like it just makes it harder having to replace everything, and then I have certain things in here that just simply cannot be replaced. Money is not a money value thing. It's a lot of art and stuff like that, writings and things like that I don't think I can carry out of here. Honestly, this stuff is too heavy. The art, that is, it's a big, huge thing that probably should be condensed to about 3 different containers. But I was going to purchase containers and I just haven't gotten around to it, that kind of thing. So it's just like I'm not sitting here saying that I'm just without any hope. But what I'm saying is I would love to be more prepared for what's going on. I think last time, even though I had less behind my name to help myself than I do now, so I'm in a much better position in that way. But mentally, for all that I had going on, I was much more equipped and prepared, I guess, to address it than I feel like I am today. I just feel like I'm caught off guard today. And as I told you guys, I haven't been feeling well. I've been my stomach's been acting up for like 3-4 days already. This morning, same thing. And so it's just like my body's not acting right. And so the energy I need to be moving and all that, I hope I can find it. Obviously, I tell you guys I work out all the time. I got my exercise routine, but the stress makes it difficult to kind of focus on the workout. Like, I probably would be working out right now, but I can't think at all. So that's why I turned on the camera, to try to find a way to condense the thoughts that I've been thinking over the last hour and just kind of put them somewhere so that I can get them out of my head. But I tell you, a lot of what I was thinking about this morning was just appreciation, I think, and then a recognition of the fear, scared, and how I separate the words afraid and scared, even though they mean the same thing. Afraid, to me, lends itself to having more dignity to it. You're afraid. Usually children are afraid. Movies, ladies are afraid. The weaker are afraid. Scared, cats are scared. That kind of thing. It's like it's a cowardice, a different level of cowardice, it seems. A different level of meekness. And I don't describe myself as being afraid right now. I describe myself as being scared. And I don't like scared. I don't like feeling that way. I don't like not having control over my circumstances to where that would be prompt. And what I don't like is the fact that I keep coercing myself into these circumstances by way of what comes naturally to me. I'm tired of being scared. I'm scared of being further tired and not being able to have the energy to pull myself out of the hole, and the unknown that comes from the realities of being homeless, and the the strain that you put on those who would be willing to help you if they do, and just how how this doesn't seem to have any real end as it pertains to my mind. And I woke up this morning and I asked myself, am I any closer to wanting to get back to the world that I was living in when I was doing security? And of course my mind did all kinds of negative stuff as soon as I even entered the thought. And so that's what I'm telling people. It's like, now I'm sitting here also to give myself a yang, so to speak, to that yin. Before I turned on the camera about 10 minutes ago, I was laying here and thinking about how much I enjoyed working at Marina Harbor before I got to the shores. None of this makes any sense right now, but Marina Harbor was a place I worked in, the Marina Del Rey. You guys probably remember, if you followed me about 4 years ago, me riding around in a cart. Actually, I don't know if I ever posted that. I probably should post that. But it was me riding around in a cart on a rainy day, cussing like a sailor. But that property I was showing off to one of my friends, and I don't think I actually uploaded that to my channel. I might go back and upload that if I can find it on my phone. But it's really, really old. But that's Marina Harbor, and I was just working down there, getting up, dealing with the cold weather, because even though in the summertime Marina is beautiful, when you're down there in the winter, it can get really frosty right next to that water. You talk about 35, 40 degrees, pretty nice cold weather. So I was dealing with that and enjoying it, making coffee for people. I learned how to make coffee over there. It got to a point where it went from me not knowing at all how to use a coffee machine to people requesting me to make their coffee. You know what I mean? So it's like I was really proud of that. And even though they had a lot of tasks that they wanted us to do for little amounts of pay, it was like 6 or 7 jobs. I'm routine based, so once I got used to all those jobs, it was cool. It gave me like 70 keys in one thing, all that stuff was, I got used to it. I enjoyed it. It ended with me not respecting their budget situation and trying to get the cart that we were using fixed. And I called the wrong cart company to have it fixed without running it past their people. And the price was a very vast difference between the company they wanted to use and the company I called. But I called the company that was in their phone. It was just one of many companies. Maybe they should have deleted that company out of the policy phone if they didn't want to use them anymore. But at the end of the day, I learned at that point to have a different type of respect for that type of thing. Now I just wouldn't even think to do that because of that lesson learned. Now I'm like, okay, let me find out who pays for what and let them do it. But my thinking was at the time, and I still agree with this, that the cart itself was a safety risk for not only the guards but everyone around us, because it had brake issues. So while they were playing around not getting it fixed, and I kept on replying, telling them they need to get it fixed, we got inclines and declines that we have to go up with bad brakes. I wasn't going to let them have us riding around or something like that, and then we run into one of these residents or can't stop when we're sliding backwards down a hill and one of these cars hit us. It's like I was like, yo, I'm not going to let these people put my safety at risk because they are not considering what it is that matters for that. But they for sure are going to hate that lawsuit that comes, or those lawsuits that come from what it is that can go wrong with us riding around in faulty equipment, vehicle equipment at that. So for me, it was like, yo, I'm going to take initiative because it's life or death as far as I can tell. I don't care about what they're talking about. It's deeper than that because I got to ride around in this thing. You feel me? So it's like, let me get on the horn and take initiative since people are playing. And plus, I went to the boss, if I'm not mistaken. I went to the boss and told them that I wanted to get it fixed, if I'm not mistaken. And I think they told me to just do it. But I called the wrong company or something, so I don't remember how that went. And I don't think I was in the right as it pertains to running everything up the right way. I think I either told them a little bit of what I needed to tell them or something like that. But the point was, I would have did that a much more respectful way of who's paying what and the budget itself. I just was not cognizant of that anywhere near as much as I am now. But nevertheless, it's like, yo, that's the thing. It's like in certain situations, you just got to take your own safety above what it is that everybody else is doing. And if it costs you your job, you also avoided whatever could have went wrong if they didn't do anything and you stayed in that situation. So that's kind of how I looked at it. And that was the end of my Marina Harbor time. They ended up transferring me to the shores, and I didn't enjoy the shores as much, but I did meet some really cool people there and enjoyed it just the same. After a while, I got used to it and then had moments where I look back on the shores just as fondly as I do Marina Harbor. But my time in the marina gives me some balance to understand that my anxiety about working security doesn't tell the full story of some of the experiences I had. And even though the majority of what it is I was doing, I ultimately would rather not do. I think what I've told myself is that it's Dungeons and Dragons and all kinds of stuff as it pertains to how far away from it I actually want to be, versus some of the good things that came with working security, including meeting some of my very favorite people nowadays. So for me, it's that disconnect between the good and what it is that I need to do now that could put me in a position to see that good in arenas where otherwise bad would be expected, as I define bad, because it ain't really bad, but me just doing stuff I don't want to do, time spent doing stuff I don't want to do to no end just to pay rent. It feels like I can't do what I also love to do, what I feel like I'm put here to do, this, whenever I want. And I just feel like I'm at my best when I have full control over my creativity and don't have anybody pressuring me to do things that I don't want to do. And maybe that's not great, but that's just how I found myself being, and because of it, I've failed in life. I failed in life for a lot of different ways, and so it gets to a point where it's like, is there any relief from the burden of these behaviors? Is there any way to change my point of view so that I can enjoy what it is that ultimately needs to be in order for a foundation to be laid down for myself? It just feels like I'm almost destined to continue on this path because of how I still view things. And like I told you guys many times, I've been trying to get psychological help for that and put it off and all these different things, but now I have an opportunity to have that. But the way that they're setting it up, I'm only talking to somebody once a month, and then everything else is just them trying to push medication toward me to help the behavior. What they don't realize is that I don't know that this is a medication type of situation. It's not about my ups and down moods. The only time I really have mood swings is when I'm smoking too much weed in the wrong different way. I don't go through mood swings. I'm more so a person that just has real fundamental fears, defenses that don't serve me well at all. And even though it makes sense to operate in a way that adds up, those anticipation fears and those anticipation defenses are magnified so very much in my skull that it keeps me from doing things that would otherwise fix various problems. And so as I continue to struggle with this, I don't know how much of this is contributed to my ills or the things in my life that I don't like, versus character concerns about just feeling entitled to not have to work based on being able to live in a spoiled world as a child where my mom kind of did everything for me and I didn't have to do much. Even when it came to small chores and stuff like that, she didn't push me to do too much and nothing most of the time, but what I wanted to do. And a lot of the times, because she was an older lady who had me at 38 years of age, she was already tired, she didn't have the energy, she was relaxing at certain points in time when I needed to be moving. When I needed to be moving, she was relaxing. So I looked at that and said, I can relax too. There were times where I even said to myself, shouldn't we be moving? Like, should we not be up? But the reality was, I had been in the house. She had been working all week. So this was her time to relax. And this was my time to get up and not be weak. And I did not have no one putting that thought in my head. There was no dad there putting that thought in my head. Just a mom that was nurturing, coddling a broken child, but not necessarily cultivating an independent man. And so as I grow up and I understand that I have the habits from that, it's like I'm not mad at my mom. She did the best she could. I'm not mad at my dad. He was where he needed to be. But myself, I don't know if I have a right to be mad at me either. Because a lot of what it is that I'm dealing with, I'm working against conditioning that has been long, comfortable in my life for 39 years. A lot of the stuff has just been in place. And even when I work certain jobs, I'm only there for like 3 years. I'm not wired to work 25 years for a company. I'm not. I'm not wired to do that. And no matter how long I try, no matter how content I am with what I'm doing, eventually something goes awry and I end up shutting down. And that's what I want people to understand, that shut down is real. I'm not doing this no more, whether I see the reason to do it or not. It's just like, nah. Because again, those defenses magnified. So for me, it feels like I'm walking on the edge of something, even though there's plenty of space to walk. It's like, okay, we at the edge now. And to convince myself to walk over that edge is exactly that. To convince yourself to walk off of the edge. Are you going to convince yourself to jump off a building when you have no interest in dying? But that's the faith I need to apply to overcome these defenses. And so that's why I find myself in situations where I end up viewing things like an hourglass, so to speak. As I told you, a sand glass, to where what it is I have just feels like it's dwindling slowly while I can't muster up the strength to do something about it. It happened with the 401k. It's happened with AMC. And those are the two times when I really had some money in my pocket. You know, those are the only times in my life where I really had anything. Otherwise, I was living off of mom or just barely having something. You know, like, never had nothing. So it's like, I've been alone. And I have had this head while alone, which is probably a bad combination. After coming from an environment where I was the only thing focused on basically a doll. You know what I mean? Like, coddled like a baby and raised like a doll. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. So it's like, I'm not wired right for what it is that needs to happen, I don't believe. It's not. And it comes to a point where it's like, well, I don't want to suffer no more. 40 years of already going through this, and then 40 more years. I don't want it. I have no interest in that. And then as I struggle with living with my mind, you know, trying to make myself feel better, however I do, it just further pulls me away from God. There's no relief. You know what I mean? And when I try to get closer to God, I have him for a while, and it's a strong relationship, and you guys see how it goes. But then when things start to settle, it's like the ways that were not of God comes back into the equation. It's like, all right, I can go back to normal. Of course, God is present, but it's like, I don't need you right now. It's that type of childishness that I fight with, that ultimately finds me in situations where I don't have the confidence I need a lot of times to handle things in faith, because I didn't feel like I made God mad. So it's like, you know, we're using, what's the word I'm trying to phrase something, and it's not coming together at all, but it's one of those situations where I just can't seem to get out of my own way, and then I can't seem to perceive myself properly to know if I should be mad at myself for that. And then I look around and I say, and I read up on disabilities and mental disabilities, and I realize I fit the bill for a lot of stuff. And it's like, so how angry of myself should I be? I don't know. I genuinely have no idea how pissed at myself I should be, or how much of accountability I actually need to be holding myself accountable for, based on what it is that I'm struggling with and what should be done against those struggles. It's like phobias or something. I don't know what the hell. I feel like I got like some deep phobias about certain specific things only in certain times. That's what it feels like. It's phobia behavior. And even if it's mortal danger involved, I'm not going to deal with it type stuff. It's like, yo, that's not the way that survival is supposed to work. That's not the way a person's supposed to put themselves in a position to have a family. Or you know what I mean? It's just not. It don't feel like I have a path to that, and I don't think I'm unique, because there are a lot of mentally ill people who are also in that space where they can't have a family. They can't have, you know, they're not wired to do right for that family. They're not wired to be part of nothing for nobody else. And I get to a point where I'm starting to see evidence of that being the case for me. It's evidence. It's not even about how I feel. It's just like, yo, is any woman honestly in a good position for choosing me right now, or even later if this continues? The answer is not in my opinion. Not in my opinion. And so it's just like, man, what will keep me going so that I can keep being this voice in this camera for you guys? You know, like, What do I have to do that I'm not going to hate doing that will ultimately allow me to continue to want to live? I don't know. Because it doesn't look like the path to me doing what it is that I ultimately enjoy doing is really in place. It's like I gotta go back and fight or flight right now. And I'm telling y'all, flight sounds like a better path. It just does. And so that's where I'm at. It's like, man, I'm tired, but more so dejected at the notion that after all of these lessons I've learned to keep me from behaving this way, the wisdom ain't enough of a convincer. I get it, and still gonna keep doing this. It's like, nah, let's stop this, God. Do something, man. And so that's where I'm kind of at with the Lord right now. It's like, you need to do something to turn this around. Because no matter how much faith I apply, no matter how many people I'm trying to convince God is real, it still comes down to my lack of faith and lack of courage that ultimately puts me in a position to need so much help all the damn time. And I'm tired of feeling like a quasi-invalid. You know what I mean? I really am. Especially when I know I'm capable of understanding things that a lot of people may not without education. And if I'd have had education, who knows exactly how much my brain could accomplish. But because I have no education, I just use what I have. Education that I would have gotten if I wasn't so scared every day to go. Education I would have gotten if we would have had the notion to put me in homeschooling when I was having that process go down. You know, that's what I really needed. I needed school to come to me so that the anxiety that I was feeling wouldn't keep me from getting the treatment and information that ultimately would have made me better. So I don't know if that was available back then. I don't remember. But that's just what was needed. Homeschool. So, you know what I mean? Now that I'm older, it's like I don't want to... You think I want to do homework now? When I didn't work that into my conditioning growing up, now I'm supposed to turn around and want to do that? We're just in a space where it's just like, man, I don't know if I can even overcome the weaknesses of my own mind in this way. Not to say that I'm not willing, it's just to say that to start that process, just like any other starting process, you anticipate it being a lot worse than it is when you start it. It's just something so foreign to me. It's just hard to, just like anything else. So maybe I need to hear more BDF encouragement videos from the past to help me with that. But I'm just telling y'all, man, we reached a space where I've run out of room. I've run out of road, it feels like. All these different miracles the Lord has given me to allow me to stay in this apartment, and He just run out of miracles. And even in the event that they give me the extension, now we got another countdown. Y'all know how I do with countdowns. They're the bane of my mental health. It's what this is made of. Anticipating something terrible and every day being terrified until it ultimately manifests. It's what the problem is. And now I got another countdown to do it. I'm just tired, man. I'm tired. I'm tired of being mentally ill while having the ability to do things that I think can impact the world in major ways. Sitting in the corner while nobody know I'm here. I'm tired of it, yo. I'm tired of it. My homegirl Karen called me a hidden gem. She said, if the world knew about me, I'd blow up in several different ways. She said, all I need is promotion. That's what she says. All I need is promotion. As soon as people know what it is and I'm doing, I'm going to be one of the wonders of the world. That's my words. That's not hers. But, like, that's how I feel. And too many people doing as many things as I'm doing in the level I'm doing it. It's just not, man. And I do it all from a comfort of my own home with very little money at all. The little money I do have is in a specific place, and I never want to touch it. And I'm doing all of this, with that going on. It's like, man, I know I'm special. But even the special ones have to find a way to survive their lives, man. Even the special ones got to find a way to survive what's coming at them. And I'm telling you, man, I'm tired. I'm very, very exhausted. And my faith has been strong, but my tendency to go back toward what keeps me from being strong is strong too. And it's like, man, I don't know which way to go. I think that relief is always an easy way to find a solution in your mind, but the relief that I'm looking for is also attached to a notion that there's a God on the other side of the door. So if I were to quit this thing, there's no guarantee He won't send me back for a harder life. There's no guarantee He won't reset this one right here. I don't know what he would want to do. And I think that's something people need to consider. When you think you're killing yourself, man, here, start your life over. You do the same thing over again without any recollection, just so you can go through it the same way. You don't know that he doesn't do that. You don't know that he doesn't do that. It's a lot of us that are assuming that God doesn't exist, and because of it, we think we can do certain things to relieve ourselves of our pains without understanding that he has plans that you ain't about to ruin. And so as I consider that, it's like, man, that's why I turn to him, because I literally don't know the suicide solution. I really don't know that it is. I think a lot of people assume that it is, but I ain't never heard nobody say, yo, that worked out for me. They weren't able to. And because I believe in a living God who's showing me by way of his timing that he does exist, people need to run that by him, man. Before you take the decision to end your life, run it by him. And if you don't hear nothing, I don't think you should do nothing. But that's the point. It's like, to say that to somebody who's in even worse pain than I'm even dreaming of being in, or dreading of being in, what can I do? All I can do is tell them that your faith will work. And then tell myself the same thing and try my best to apply it. And it's been working. Like I said, the miracles are evident. There's no part of me that can't admit that so many miracles have come into my life. That part is not the problem. Applying the faith in a God that exists is not the problem. The problem is walking the path that he has me on while being the person that he made me to be, and being okay with things that go wrong, doing things naturally. Other people in my life that I've seen do things naturally, they find results that they're looking for. Me, when I do things naturally, I end up finding the fear that I'm running from. That's the best way to describe my life. And the sad thing about it is, I'm so believing in God and faithful and all that, and I believe in all of this, but my body still harbors the stress as if there's no God at all. My stomach right now is in knots and it refuses to eat. Like I said, all I had was a baked potato and 4 bites of oatmeal yesterday, and I'm full. And I'm always like this when stress like this happens. It's been like that since I was small too. So it's like, man, I'm tired. Like I've been tired for years now, man. And lately I've been thinking about my mom and wanting to see her again. Like seriously. I've been thinking about how my life can go downhill from here and suffer in homelessness based on what comes naturally to me and my fears already, and what traumas could be ahead and how that could trickle down to various different things according to how my mind handles trauma. If I see more trauma, it's probably gonna make me even worse. If I go through more traumas, make me even worse. So it's like, how much of this do I want to do? How much of this do I want to do? I keep telling God, like, man, if you got another 40 like this, I'm not doing it. Not if I have a choice. So that's what it is, man. I got a family that loves me, supports me, that don't want me to give up, friends that don't want me to give up. I have no interest in giving up, people I want to convince they shouldn't give up by way of my example. All this stuff is real as it gets, and we got to get through these moments, just like I've said many times. That's why I do what I do. I give these moments to you so I don't sit in them in my own mind and let them deteriorate me where no one can see it. If you put the camera on me, at least I know I got to keep being somewhat positive to remind myself that I'm talking to someone who could take that energy and run with it in their own lives. I don't want to negatively affect others as they try to handle what it is that's in front of them. So, that's what it is. Hopefully I can show them by example that as I struggle, even as a person who believes in God and is trying to help everybody else, it's okay for those guys to not have it all together. I think we've gotten to a space where we expect our leaders to always be able to not be given guidance. Like, they make a mistake, it's like, they're the leader, so it's not a mistake, it's just a choice. And like, no, that he made a mistake. He believes in God, but he lost his faith. But he don't want to tell you that because he has to keep that image up so that he can keep whatever it is that he's going for, money, whatever it is that he's trying to do, going. But I'm telling you, the incorporation of the truth can be used by the Lord to help you and whoever it is you're talking to. So if you hide that truth, you can't provide that wisdom that comes with your truth. Even if that truth ain't positive, if you get it out of your system, you can show somebody that you can get it out of your system. And they get it out of theirs too. So it's just a lot of good that I think can come from just being vulnerable as it pertains to being somebody who thinks they can lead others to the Lord. You too have to show people that you can be led away from him so that they don't feel like they don't have to keep check of themselves as they go toward the Lord. People think they cross over the threshold of being of God, and then they keep some of the ways that they had from being evil in that new walk. You got to throw those ways away. And part of throwing those ways away is acknowledging that they're there, struggling with them, not in the dark, not so that people can't see you, so that they can also to learn from how you handle it. And we've been so quick to keep secrets that we don't teach others how to deal with stuff that they deal with in the dark. And we're so quick to allow those of us who are secretly evil in nature to keep those people in a space of culture where they choose to be in the dark. We got to be very careful about that one. That's an evil that is meant to keep people from being forthcoming with what would otherwise help everybody and themselves. And be like, nah, we're going to kill them for what they did. We're going to do this to them. We're going to maim them. We're going to shame them. And they're going to stay in the dark, never telling people how they struggle and how they want to overcome it. You're going to assume that they never existed and they're going to keep on doing what it is that makes them worse because the help ain't there. So I'm showing somebody something different. And I hope that I survive it. Literally, I hope I survive it, man. I don't know what God want to do, but I'm so freaking tired of living this way, of thinking this way, of operating this way, and getting what comes with it. I'm tired of it, man. Exhausted, pulling my hair out type stuff. And this is like the worst one. This is the worst one because I only got 5 days and I'm at the whim of whether or not someone's going to allow me to have an extension. And if I don't give that extension, everything in here potentially has to stay in here. I have to lose it all. Everything. There's more, of course. I don't have a lot. Y'all see that. I'm not living in luxury, but it's what I got. I don't necessarily want to lose all of it, especially this bed. This bed is the most comfortable thing on the planet. I kid you not. But it's like, man, I'm also not a person who can't let go of all this stuff if given a lot of money either. I'm not that either. If somebody give me such and such amount to replace everything, this stuff is replaced. I don't want nobody to think otherwise. But since I don't have the money to replace anything, you obviously don't want to lose nothing. No, but I'm not particularly in love with any of this stuff like that. Not to where if I got rich, I need to keep money of it. Hell no. I don't want nobody to think that. But, it is what it is, man. Money cures all, but at the same time, it's the sacrifice of my own finances that is really what's been going on here. Y'all know that, the AMC thing. Just sacrifice it completely. Everything that otherwise would have been creature comforts outside of weed and stuff like that, just wasn't buying it. So I could hold them shares, only for them to dilute it all down to just as if I had never built my position. So it's just one more evil antagonist type of energy that I have to try to overcome with what energy I have. And it's just wearing me down, man. Just like any other embedded beating, or you keep getting punched, whatever, water torture. Just like anything else, you just keep getting hit. That's what I was trying to explain to my younger friends, whoever follows me who's younger. Like, bro, that's what it really is. It's not about the one time you get punched. It's about how many of those. And that's what people need to understand about the fatigue of conflict and fatigue of war. That one battle, as a young person, you ain't been in too many battles, 21, 22. That battle right there, you got the energy for it. Bro, if you keep engaging in that, you're going to be in 1,000 battles like that. And by the time you get to the 58th battle, you're going to be tired of them damn battles. You ain't going to have the energy. It's not going to feel the same. And that's why you don't start down the path of conditioning that allows you to do anything that's going to wear you down. this is what I want people to learn from me. Because I got so used to being comfortable and coddling myself in spaces that otherwise made me comfortable, I wore myself down by not having the foundations necessary to keep my stresses from being real. I wore myself down. I made myself exhausted by always allowing the room for certain things to be in place for me to be stressed the hell out about. But just the same, what I was guarding against is the wear down that came from constantly working like y'all do. Every day, 9 to 5, letting your bodies and your minds and your souls deteriorate, working for companies that, however they go about their business, may not be on the up and up any damn way. Am I wrong in how I perceive all of this? Probably, to some degree. Maybe there's some extremes to it, but at the end of the day, that's how I see it, man. And I know there's a balance to be had to say to the Lord, you can apply your faith to that. And see, that's the newest thought for me. It's like applying your faith to that. Just like you apply your faith to other areas that work out, apply your faith to that and let the Lord carry you there. And it's like, well, that's the cure to all anxiety, right? It's applied faith in specific areas. Anything that I feel I cannot do, that's where the faith needs to be applied. The problem is, I ain't really that great at that, as you guys can see. For all of the great truth I have about the Lord and Savior and all that, applying faith in areas of extreme weakness and extreme discomfort. Trying to win that battle. Lord, help me there, please. So it's like, that's what it really comes down to. I know the wisdom to do so works. I just, for whatever reason, ain't in the rhythm of doing that really ever. Not like I need to be preventative. I go to work for 20 years so I'll never be without money. That work for 20 years is a worse wear down than what I'm going through in my mind. Because of the constant nature of having to face anxieties each and every morning to do so. That's what it is. You wake up in the morning and you battle yourself and your anxieties to get out the house. You battle yourself and your social anxieties in the presence of others, only to get back to the space where you're most comfortable, to only have to turn around and do it again. That's a challenge for me every day. And as a child, it was the worst. Those anxieties, coupled with how I viewed myself, coupled with my frustration with the work, coupled with the frustration of being tasked with having to do homework at night in my spaces where I otherwise should be decompressing from all of that anxiety. Now I gotta put myself in a position to have more pressure, to meet more deadlines, to have more people judging my work, telling me I'm smart because I did this right, telling me I'm not because I forgot that. I didn't want to have nothing to do with any of that. Not to mention they didn't tell me nothing about my history, my people, told us about stuff that when I watch Roots, it's complete opposite of what they're talking about. It's just like, yo, I'm worn down. I'm telling y'all. So that's just where I'm at, man. It ain't even about, oh, Lord, would you please save me? It's like, it gets to a point where it's like, Lord, do you got any relief for this cycle? All I'm doing is getting older, you know what I'm saying? And I'm asking people for help and they're being so gracious. But then I look inside myself and I realize I'm not in a position to pay them back or in a path to give them what they need unless some miracles come my way to give me a lot of money. Miracles that don't seem possible right now, even though I got a lot of talent. And so it's just like, man, I don't know. What do you want me to say? I'm tired, man. If God give me an opportunity to stop all of this, I stop all of this. You know what I'm saying? But he just ain't. He just keeps on waking me up with the same anxieties, new troubles, new struggles, and yet another need to override how that looks to apply the faith that he's gonna fix it, and just stress through that until he does, only for him to do it, and it's like, yay, and then I find myself back in a space where I'm relaxing, doing the things that I normally do, only for him to spank me on my backside and go through that process again. Y'all gotta know how tired that makes me. So that's where I'm at, man. I am ready to go. I ain't never been more ready to go. But I'm still here, and I'm not gonna kill myself. So I'm just gonna keep on letting the Lord bring me these miracles while I apply this blind faith in the presence of all this stress. And hopefully this time will be like last time. He gives me a miracle. I get the extension. I stay here for a little while, and then some blessing comes. Like, oh my God, this worked out. Ooh, look at how that worked out. And it's like, I appreciate those blessings, but you gotta understand how horrible those stress is leading up to those miracles, bro. That's the part ain't got nothing to do with the miracles. Miracle, yay. But all of that stuff that leads up to that, that does this, they be like, man, forget that old miracle, bro. Just stop this. That's what I need. Stop this. BDF 44. I thank you all for watching. I'm out.